continue to find some still relatively good valued companies. Also, far as the cruise line business itself, still only a very relatively low exposure, large unpenetrated market. Only about 4% of the population US has been on a cruise, and 3% in Europe. And they've just started focusing on Asia, which of course is a huge untapped market. So they should be able to continue to grow again, low to mid single digits, right? That's another positive for it. We also got the demographics, the baby boomers. One of the first things that you hear people retiring is they're going to go on a cruise, normally end up going. And because of all the different cruise designations now, especially with Carnival, because they have cruises in Alaska, they have cruises in the Mediterranean, and they have cruises in the Caribbean. So there's a good chance if somebody goes on one of the cruises, enjoys it, then they're going to try a cruise in another geographical location. So that's another reason I continue to, I like the company. And there's only limited competition. There's Royal Caribbean, there's Norwegian Cruise Lines, and MSC Cruises, which I haven't heard of, but they take up 84% of the market. So it's not like you got a lot of small companies really trying to compete for market share, which allows them to hold pricing pretty steady. They tried to increase pricing by 1% or 2% a year, and they're willing to sacrifice some of the berths for that, mainly because they do have like 100% bookage. So, and then again, the breakdown in revenues are roughly Caribbean takes up the biggest section because of the United States, of course. That's at about 30%. European, without the Mediterranean, outside the Mediterranean, is 14%. Mediterranean is 13%. Australia, New Zealand is 8%. Alaska is 6%. And Asia is 4%. So there's lots of room in Asia for that to expand. So that's one area that they are focusing on. There is, because there is another risk with currency exchanges, with a strengthening dollar, US dollar, that does have an impact on earnings, but they try to hedge that the best they can, and they seem to be doing a reasonable job on doing that. So, and right now they have 104 ships in service and 12.4 million guests per year. So, like I say, they are by far the largest cruise operator in the world. So, so that's just one of the new stocks I picked up over, I guess I've had it just over a month now. Outside of that, I did sell, I think I mentioned one of my videos, I had AF Growth, which is AFN.T. I had that one years ago. I did okay on it. I sold it, it got too expensive. I looked at my long-term charts, the price it came down, and basically just thought, well, the company's probably, there were some minor factors that I thought brought the price down. But when I looked into it a little bit deeper, I wasn't too impressed with the balance sheet. They had taken on a lot more debt for their growth in Europe. And also their retained earnings had gone from positive to negative. So sometimes that play of seeing what looks like a repeating pattern on a long-term trend doesn't always work. And sometimes I will buy the shares. Okay, it looks like a trend's forming again, maybe a multi-year trend or 1 or 2 year trend. But typically when I get to a certain position size, I still dig into the fundamentals a bit more. And in this case, I decided that there was just too much risk on the balance sheet. I did make a small profit on it, 3 or 4%, and I think I got maybe 1 or 2 dividend payouts. But I did liquidate that whole holding. Not left with a little bit of cash, some cash I've left right now, because market just keeps going up, and it's getting even harder to find a place to put it. But I did say one of my other videos that the REITs had came down a little bit. Not sure exactly why. It was just a bit of a sell-off from the run-up they had, because it wasn't really too much to do with interest rates. But I did put some of that money into H&R REIT, HR-UN on the Toronto, and I think it pays a dividend of about 6%, and technically it share price is starting to come back up again. So that's basically all I have for this week, and thanks for tuning in. And if you enjoyed this, give me a thumbs up, and pass it on to anybody else that you think is involved in the stock market. And I'll try to put out another video next week. Thanks.